Dave Hughes, Deputy General Secretary. I think a lot of speakers have said about the ridiculous proposals that were presented. I think it's important to see the context from which they came. They didn't come because the government pleaded inability to pay, because they didn't. They didn't come because the public servants were not meeting the targets set by the original Croke Park Agreement, because they were. They came in writing because they had unattributed savings provided for in their budget. So they had projected a saving and not said where it would come from, so therefore it'll come from your pockets. That was the basis of those talks. That's like what Ray Kinsler was talking about earlier. We make the budget too small and then we come back and make it your problem. So these talks are not born out of an emergency. This is a policy decision. It's a policy decision, a choice for government to pick public servants and to victimise them for what has happened and impose a third pay cut. And it's not on. When people talk about this, and the commentariat talk about this, they talk about percentages. The actual loss to nurses working shifts was 3,000 per annum. For nurse managers, it was up to 5,000 per annum. How could nurses, midwives, or any other public servant working shifts afford those losses and pay all of the other demands and taxes that are being placed on everybody else? They can't do it, they won't do it, and if we're talking to anybody, it's about alternatives. It's not about the dead Croke Park 2 proposals. The great shame about this attack on public servants and their families, because it is an attack on your families as well, is that it's been led by the Labour Party 100 years after the lockout. The Labour Party are taking the mantle of William Martin Murphy, who called the employers to lock out their workers in 1913. The question that everybody is asking is, will the nurses, will the public servants go on strike? Here's my question. Will the TDs vote for strike? Will the TDs of Dáil Éireann put every public servant out on the streets? Because if they vote for pay cuts, that's what they're doing, not what you're doing. And we've have calls for strikes, and we do know what we have to do if it comes to that. But let's do one more thing to them before they choose to cut your pay. Let every public servant, and the 150,000 of them have already voted no, let every public servant, the minute they announce they're going to pass legislation, get any mode of transport and appear outside Dáil Éireann. We will make them walk the walk of shame. We already have very strong alliances with our colleagues in the Gardaí, the AGSI-GRA, the Psychiatric Nurses Association, the CPSU, the INMO, and Unite. And many, many more unions will now join this campaign. Let's stand outside that Dáil the day that they want to go in and stay there for as long as it takes and make them look you in the eye before they take the money out of your pocket. Make them walk the walk of shame.